Hurricane Irma strengthens to Category 4 storm as Florida prepares. Hurricane Irma strengthened as it churned toward the Caribbean amid storm warnings, watches and states of emergency in Florida and Puerto Rico, and was expected to near land late Tuesday. With its 145 miles per hour winds, the Category 4 hurricane could become even more powerful in the next 2 days, just as it's forecast to reach the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, the National Hurricane Center said Monday. Irma is moving into waters that are warmer and are a very favorable environment for even further development, said Heather Tesch, a meteorologist for the Weather Channel. The Hurricane Center warned that Irma poses a serious threat to the Leeward Islands, where it is expected to arrive late Tuesday night, bringing with it destructive waves and storm surges of 6 to 9 feet. The storm could dump as much as 10 inches of rain as it moves through the Caribbean, according to the forecast. Late Monday, the center upgraded the advisories for Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands from hurricane watches to warnings, indicating a hit from Irma is not just possible, but expected. This is not an opportunity to go outside and try to have fun with a hurricane, U.S. Virgin Islands Gov. Kenneth Mapp warned. It's not time to get on a surfboard. The Hurricane Center said Irma could also sweep across Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, and Florida later in the week. Puerto Rico Gov. Ricardo Rossello declared a state of emergency on Monday, activating the National Guard, canceling schools and freeing up $15 million in emergency funds for the financially troubled island, his office said in a statement. The director of the Puerto Rico's power company predicted that storm damage could leave some areas without electricity for 4 to 6 months. But some areas will have power back in less than a week, Ricardo Ramos told radio station Noche Uno 630 AM. The utilities infrastructure has deteriorated greatly during a decade-long recession, and Puerto Ricans experienced an island-wide outage last year. In Florida, where Tesch said the storm could land later in the week, Gov. Rick Scott said late Sunday that President Donald Trump offered the government's full support as the state readies itself. Earlier, Scott declared a state of emergency, saying it was necessary for local governments to prepare immediately. Current forecast models have Florida in Irma's path, potentially impacting millions of Floridians, he said in a statement. While the exact path of Irma is not absolutely known at this time, we cannot afford to not be prepared. Residents appear to be listening. Images posted to social media from Naples, in South Florida, and Temple Terrace, outside Tampa, showed bare store shelves. There's a drought in the water aisle and Home Depot is packed, NBC Miami reporter Ari Otzer joked on Twitter. And a Home Depot in Royal Palm Beach, a sign alerted shoppers that it was short on wing nuts and 5-gallon jugs for gasoline and water. A shopper there, David Graham, recalled Hurricane Harvey, the powerful storm that struck Texas Gulf Coast late last month. Tens of thousands of people fled to shelters, and thousands more were rescued. 48 deaths have been attributed to Harvey so far across 6 Texas counties. People are being more vigilant, I guess, Graham told NBC affiliate WPTV of West Palm Beach. Another shopper, Bianca Rodriguez, told the station that she'd earlier gone to Walmart, where was nothing, not even, like, one thing of water, she said. So she went to Winn-Dixie instead, where she found the cases of water she'd been searching for. I lucked out, she said. Florida has declared a state of emergency as America braces itself for Hurricane Irma, which is growing into a powerful Category 4 storm that poses a serious threat to the East Coast. The life-threatening storm is on course to hit the U.S. this weekend, just a fortnight after Hurricane Harvey caused flooding chaos in Texas with more than 30 dead and billions of pounds worth of damage. Florida residents, fearing the worst, rushed to stock up with provisions, and hurricane watches were posted for parts of the Caribbean, including Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Guadeloupe and the British Virgin Islands. Winds as strong as 140 miles per hour were being predicted, and the storm could dump as much as 10 inches of rain, leading to landslides, flash floods and waves of up to 23 feet. Declaring a state of emergency, Florida Governor Rick Scott said, Hurricane Irma is a major and life-threatening storm and Florida must be prepared. I have continued to be briefed by the Florida Division of Emergency Management on Hurricane Irma, and current forecast models have Florida in Irma's path, potentially impacting millions of Floridians, he added. The storm was upgraded to a Category 4 yesterday, but it's still possible that Florida could be spared if the hurricane moves out into the Atlantic and bypasses the state altogether. This hurricane has the potential to be a major event for the East Coast. It also has the potential to significantly strain FEMA and other governmental resources, occurring so quickly on the heels of Harvey, said U.S. meteorologist Evan Myers. Hurricane Irma has now been upgraded to Category 4 hurricane as it heads towards the Caribbean, with forecasters desperately trying to predict the storm's next move. The National Hurricane Agency has warned Hurricane Irma has now strengthened, with maximum wind speeds now hitting 140 miles per hour. Nail-biting footage shows brave hurricane hunters incepting the Irma path as they look to gain an insight of the storm. The video shows the plane heading toward the storm, with weather becoming increasingly worse as they reach Hurricane Irma's eye. Upon reaching the eye, it becomes virtually impossible to see through the storm as the hunter's plane is engulfed by storm clouds. Forecasters have predicted the storm will strengthen further in the next 48 hours, with Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands now receiving warnings. The latest update from the NHC said, there is an increasing chance of seeing some impacts from Irma in the Florida Peninsula and the Florida Keys later this week and this weekend. In addition, rough surf and dangerous marine conditions will begin to affect southeastern U.S. coast by later this week. Otherwise, it is still too early to determine what direct impacts Irma might have on the continental United States. The islands of Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Montserrat, Senior Kitts and Nevis, Saint Martin, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Martin and St. Barts have all been issued with hurricane warnings. The NHC added, however, everyone in hurricane-prone areas should ensure that they have their hurricane plan in place, as we are now near the peak of the season. Recent NHC maps show tropic storm force winds could reach Miami on Florida's southeastern tip in 5 days' time. The storm track reveals Hurricane Irma could be nearing Cayo Coco on the northern coast of Cuba by Saturday, September 9. Cayo Coco is just over 400 kilometers, about 250 miles, away from Miami in Florida. The NHC said Hurricane Irma is expected to bring life-threatening wind, storm surge, rip currents and torrential downpours to the northeastern Leeward Islands. A recent update said, on the forecast track, the center of Irma will move near or over positions of the northern Leeward Islands Tuesday night and early Wednesday.